Coming up on today's wrestling news, Chris Jericho takes a shot at Cody Rhodes on AEW Dynamite.
AEW books a major Wembley match out of nowhere.
An NXT superstar is the heavy favourite for a shock WWE title run.
And a big AEW wildcard clue on last night's Dynamite.
I'm Adam Wilborn.
I'm Michael Hamflett.
And this is the news. So the war between WWE and AEW continues. Sort of. So, to give you a bit of backstory to this, Cody Rhodes was on the Behind the Turnbuckle podcast, one of the best podcasts out there, that's not ours, saying, the number one red flag I hear, if you meet a guy who's a legend, who's coming into the roster and saying he's going to be active or a part-time guy, the number one red flag if you're young or in the middle of the pack talent is when you hear somebody say, hey, I'm just here for the young guys. I already know you're not just here for the young guys. I'd rather you tell me straight up, I'm here for some of y'all and I'm here for myself. So obviously that was doing the rounds yesterday. People saying, oh, is this a veiled threat at Cody Rhodes? At CM Punk or whatever it is.
About 50 other guys as well in wrestling that have basically satisfied the exact brief he's describing.
Some people do genuinely come in and try and help the younger talent, but I suppose they don't have to make a big scene about it and say, hey, I'm here for the young guys.
And there's plenty of carny succubuses out there, isn't there?
Cut to AEW Dynamite last night. Chris Jericho's doing the I'm learning tree gimmick in the ring and says, verbatim, I'm just here for the young guys. Michael Hamflett, is this a shot at Cody Rhodes?
Yeah. It's at very least a reference. Chris Jericho is extremely online, which is interesting because if you're saying you don't like that character online, he's probably thinking, great, I've got all the heat I need. Yeah. Chris Jericho. It was a shot, wasn't it? Or it was a reference at very least. It was, and to be fair, Cody Rhodes, highlighting this, red flag is such a potent term in this case.
Kids are using it, aren't they?
The number one red flag. Cody Rhodes is outright burying the next 20 guys that say that earnestly. So Chris Jericho thought, well, I'm going to try and trivialise it right out the gate. He's right on top of it. I hate this Chris Jericho run, but I can't fault his ingenuity with doing this.
Yeah.
He knew it was going to generate a bit of conversation about himself. Right now, he's targeting the number one guy in the industry that, of course, he used to share the same company with in AEW.
Yeah.
Founders, vital members, that a sort of iconic first foo-head over the title back in 2019. So everybody knew what they were doing.
They've gone a slightly different path since then.
Indeed. Cody Rhodes knew what he was doing when he said it. Whoever it was that he was, and I saw a bunch of CM Punk names in the replies, and I saw a lot of other people saying, or this, or this, or this, or this, and I'm thinking, probably all of them. Probably all of them. Punk has lived that life on that main roster way back, in his original run as Dashing Cody Rhodes or as Stardust, when he must have seen so many of the part-timers coming through. As a top guy now, he's presumably wanting to put out this idea of doing it differently, like a learning tree, shoot version of the heel character Jericho plays. Meanwhile, for all we know in the locker room, there could be a bunch of people that like having Chris Jericho around as somebody that gives advice, but Jericho is parodying that gimmick to the extreme. Well, parodying about 50 gimmicks. Maybe mind up, Chris. Big idiot.
Yeah.
On Dynamite, that's the character he's portraying, so it does stand to reason that he would immediately drop it in.
You know what I'd say if I was Cody Rhodes?
What's that?
You know what really winds me up? Is when legends just disappear off television for 6 months. Go away, Chris Jericho.
There's a number one red flag is when veterans let Big Bill pin them clean on Dynamite. Because I got it, hit me with the boot, Bill. Yeah, aye. We'll see where this goes, I guess. These things get heard. This thing, Jericho's
they're never going to be in the same circles again, because once stars go like that,
right to the floor. Jericho read it online and said it on television. Cody will have seen it on television and now may respond. We're talking about it in a video. You might be talking about it in the comments. Choose your fighter, I guess.
I think people will be like, oh my God, how's Cody Rhodes going to respond to Chris Jericho? And if he's got any sense, he'll just not. Because he's the biggest star in the industry.
Indeed, yeah.
He's got huge storylines coming up. And he's not going to try and get into it with a washed-up wrestler who can't sing. Sorry.
Couldn't have said it better.
I'm in a bit of a bad mood this morning, clearly.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Let's move on. AEW got a massive pay-per-view coming up. That's right, all in London at Wembley Stadium at the end of August.
What a night that's going to be. I mean, that whole night, really.
Yeah, there's a great venue just 1 minute away from Wembley doing something called Sweet Chin Disco.
Ooh, sounds good.
Look, nothing to do with us. Go along, have a brilliant time. It's a nightclub full of I'll be wrestling tunes and other sort of great stuff. You can get drinks and all that. The kind of perfect venue to get drinks and dance and share times with other great wrestlers. wrestling fans. And with it being so close to Wembley, you might want to pop there before All in London.
They're doing a
mightn't
disco
you?
beforehand.
Not disco, but there's whispers that there might be something else going on.
I'll stay tuned for that.
I certainly
I'll
would.
keep an eye out for it, absolutely.
I certainly would. And keep an eye out for MJF at Wembley Stadium, as apparently he's fighting Daniel Garcia. That's booked.
What?
Tick. Dynamite opened last night with a segment between MJF and Daniel Garcia where they talked about their match they had last year when MJF was world champion.
That's almost too much sexual attraction in the ring.
Oh, and they were wearing these leather jackets as well. It was hot-ass product, it was. They're having the back and forth. MJF said, look, like this time last year... Daniel Garcia was saying this time last year a lot of people were questioning you as champion, but I wasn't, and I got in the ring and I felt it for myself. And I was like, yeah, kid, I beat you without breaking a sweat. But nonetheless, I've got a lot of respect for you, a lot of time for you. I think you're like, I'm a pillar, you're a killer. Let's go and let's do it at Wembley Stadium now. And it was booked. Garcia was obviously over the moon with this. MJF was like, was like, we got it, great. The match graphic doesn't exist yet, but then to be absolutely fair, it is Forbidden Door, like this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
MJF was like, out of the way, Yota, Cesaro. Briefly mentioned him, but no match graphic yet, because possibly, all may not be quite what it seems. Will Ospreay immediately appeared, and he was sort of double flexing because he said, well, great, nice one.
Good for you.
I know you're excited, Garcia, but your Christmas and birthdays come all at once, mate, because how would you fancy a title shot against me next week? Garcia was like, great, that's what I've been shooting for. And Ospreay's saying, not just any title, I'm going to have the world title by then. So not only is he kind of giving it a bit of a to Swerve Strickland, who he assumes is going to be at Forbidden Door, he was also giving it a to MJF's big announcement. So it was kind of a bit of like, from Will Ospreay, and maybe...
Imagine if they just hot potato the world title. Ospreay to Garcia to MJF, there you go.
Done. Tick, tick, tick. So this may be feeding, of course, into the rumoured Ospreay MJF.
That's why I assumed it was going to be
Wembley Stadium, which,
yeah.
As far as booking a Wembley match, you were kind of seeding it here, even if it's not the one they've currently announced. But as of right now, it's on the card.
That's wild, isn't it? Yeah, I saw this when I woke up this morning and went, huh?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Like, I love both guys. Obviously, I think it'd be a phenomenal match too. But I was kind of set on, right, the way they sort of teased it and what have you, it feels like Swerve maybe retains this weekend, obviously face the winner of the Owen Hart Cup, Jeff Jarrett. And then Ospreay spins off into a feud with MJF, because if MJF wants hate, fight Will Ospreay at Wembley.
Indeed, that's exactly it. Isn't it?
But yeah, I like, do you know what? People will be like, oh, they've ruined it, you can't do that, but... If they're doing this to be like, the plans are in place, and then they all get blown up by the events of Forbidden Door, I'm kind of into it, you know?
In the interest of balance, this time last year, us, Peppa Pig, Mr. Bean looking asses, tea-sucking Brits were all complaining about the lack of big feeling matches / Wembley status level contests for All in London. Right now we already have 3 singles matches booked effectively, because if you have MJF Garcia plus the winner of the men's and the women's Owens for the world titles,
and Nigel McGuinness, Screws, Bryan Danielson, please.
That's 4. That's already 3 that are on the card. Confirmed as of now.
And just random trios matches. They could just toy on there like they did last year.
I'm being earnest here. Don't ruin it.
Right, let's talk about the best wrestling show of the week, NXT, and a superstar from that show who's a heavy favourite for a WWE title run. I'm talking, of course, of Nathan Fraser when I'm cleaning windows.
We got that.
Podcast fans know what I'm talking about there. Nathan Fraser. It's a What Called Wrestling podcast, wherever you get your podcast from. Nathan Fraser, the former Ben Carter in AEW, of course. Phenomenal young talent, trained by Seth Rollins. Big things expected from him. Current NXT Tag Team Champion, along with Axiom. Nerd! I love Axiom as well.
Oh, me too, yeah.
But very interesting things about another potential title run for him, you see, because Nathan Fraser just beat Akira Tozawa in the latest WWE Speed Tournament. He advances to the semi-finals to take on Xavier Woods. The winner of that match will obviously face Andrade El Idolo for the WWE Speed Championship. And Nathan Fraser, he's already got a belt. He fought for the biggest prize in all of wrestling, the Heritage Cup.
What's his gimmick, Wilborn, for those that don't watch NXT?
He's fast.
He's the fastest man alive.
He's literally so fast.
Sonic the Hedgehog guy.
And, sometimes they give people a gimmick, and they're like, that doesn't really fit your character. It's perfect for Nathan Fraser. Yeah. The only person it'd probably be more perfect for is Bron Breakker hitting the ropes. And even then, it'd be a tie, probably.
If as we kind of maybe predict might now happen, as per a storyline going on in NXT, and Nathan Frazier was to win this title, like, I think Nathan Frazier versus Braun Breaker will be a challenge to, like, keep it under a minute and a half, let alone 3. It's like speed. What about double speed?
Yeah.
Like, let's see if
sometimes sometimes some people who work at What Culture, when they have to catch up on, 10 hours of wrestling a week or whatever, maybe you watch it on 1.5 times speed. I'll have to watch that match on 0.5 speed.
Just to be able to see what
make out what's going on. Nevertheless, nothing against Xavier Woods, love the guy, obviously, but I just kind of want to see, I know it's only 3 minutes, but I want to see what Andrade versus Nathan Frazier just looks like, even if they don't put the title on Frazier.
Frazier Woods in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, that could be some good stuff. For context, for those that don't watch NXT, we know there are some of you still...
What's wrong with you?
Still left out there. Nathan Frazier is involved in an ongoing thing with his partner Axiom, whereby he's attempting to win a lot of singles matches / titles, because he's got goals and dreams of his own.
Yeah, he didn't win the Heritage Cup, did he? Who's champion?
The goddamn angel. Damn it. And it's built into seemingly them losing the tag titles, and if this is in line with Frazier...
Who's the number 1 contender for the tag titles at NXT? Whip! I like it one, I don't like it this one. Chase you! It's the best wrestling. It's where the best wrestle. That's what I'm coined a new term for.
Right, okay, yeah. All right. What was that again?
It's the where the best wrestle.
Right, we got it written down, shall we? Yeah. Probably to tell a few more people, because without the TNA boost, last night's rating was, oh boy.
Where's Joe Hendry at, huh?
Get him back,
Where's Joe?
John Grace, go over it.
Stop feuding with Taz. I'm glad they all worked out. I think they worked out, didn't they?
Yeah, all is fine there. And all is fine, seemingly, within the elite. The Young Bucks last night, tag titles over their shoulders, were bigging up Forbidden Door, saying how Jack Perry was going to win the TNT title, and the next part of their big plan to assume total control and power over All Elite Wrestling was to win the world title at Wembley. To do that, they would be providing the wild card member to face Jeff Jarrett on next week's Dynamite, of course, Beach Break from Chicago. Now, obviously, Jeff Jarrett's promo has kind of taken the wrestling world by storm that he cut on Collision. The full version is a must-watch on YouTube after you've sat through this video.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's the real stuff. And he goes for about 10 minutes and he talks about why winning the Owen, or at very least getting to the final in Calgary, is so important to him. It was like one of his last great career milestones. And the Elite, as just the worst
Bastards,
creeps in AEW, lining up an opponent for him does feel perfect. Now, Fight for Select, we're kind of talking about this a little bit, and it's what everybody's thinking as soon as you see the Young Bucks on screen is, of course, Hangman Page.
Oh, I was thinking Brandon Cutler, but okay, yeah, fair enough. That makes more sense.
Also good. Hangman Page, if you recall, was suspended when the Young Bucks announced that, he was going to be gone for a while. Yeah. Kenny Omega was also ousted from the group. So the return for Hangman has been there or there. It's been in the ether without any kind of announcement being made. Now, the Fight for Select report did say Page has been out of action for contractually obligated personal reasons and hasn't been injured. And we're told AEW were always aware he'd be making his return by late June or early July. So, of course, Beach Break falls into that. Quote, it's important to note creative plans can always change, so we can't specifically report he will be the wild card, but he was discussed for the tournament. He's also been planned for an early July return well ahead of his absence. So, the name in the frame does at least fit the reporting here. That's not Fight for Select reporting it. They say that in that quote I've just read. I don't want to misquote them. Mm-hmm. My take on this,
go on,
you didn't ask, is all of us thinking, here's this red carpet being rolled out of Hangman Page, and the Elite throw in their real guy, Christian Cage, who says something awful about Jerry Jarrett. Jeff beats the living out of him and then wraps the guitar around Nick Wayne's head and advances to the next round to face Jay White.
I like that a lot. So, I really like that.
Cage over Page. But then Hangman Page's return, of course, if not as the wild card, could be coming just as soon because there's Blood and Guts on the horizon.
Oh God, yeah.
Got those teams to come together. He kind of fits, if you want to think about it, as a fifth man for either side, doesn't he? As the Elites, oh Jesus, they've got to Hangman. Or, right, Swerve, I'll partner with you. I hate you, mate, but we're going to do this for one night and one night only. Of course, if Hangman isn't in the tournament, that technically rules him out of Swerve at Wembley, so the ramifications there are big. It's pretty good stuff. It's all to play for.
Yeah, I love that booking idea, though. Let us know your pictures, your thoughts on a potential return for Hangman Page in the comments section below, because that'd be really exciting. I'm intrigued. Is it Dynamite after Forbidden Door?
They're kind of
isn't it?
Like the Owens are already taking shape. If you look, they're kind of already moving into the semis, I think, with Willow and Chris Statlander.
Yeah.
So they're a round ahead in the women's, and Pac is obviously waiting for his challenger.
You've got Shingo Danielson at the pace, obviously. Yeah. Exciting times.
Great tournament, high stakes, and Wembley on the horizon. All very exciting stuff.
Good stuff. Let us know your thoughts on that and everything we discussed in the comments section below. Join us later on today for the after news, of course. But for now, why not check out this video right here? We'll see you soon.